Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this next session for the Clia Cruise Forum. And I'm delighted to be joined today by three people right at the cutting edge of cruise lines in the UK. So we have Giles Hawke, who is the Chief Executive of Avalon. We've got Bernie Carter from Oceania Cruises, and we've got Rzymowska, who is from Celebrity Cruises. So welcome everyone. Now, this session is to look a little bit ahead. It's to talk about the opportunities that there still are in this brilliant sector, albeit we're in this pause at the moment, but it's still, Joe, got lots of potential, hasn't it?
It certainly has. It certainly has. It seems difficult, right? Because this has gone on a lot longer than any of us ever wanted it to. But I think what's really important for the agency community to know is how well we're working across as an industry, as Clia, led by Andy. Significant amount of work in making sure that we're doing everything we can to pull together and streamline the communication as much as we can to the agency community as we get ready to return. There are still lots of ships on order. All the ships that are on order, yes, there might be some delays owing to the situation that we're in from a COVID point of view, but there is great confidence across the industry on those new ships being built. There's great confidence of the ships that were being, in our case, we call it revolutionized, still happening. So that we make sure that as an industry, as we say when we come back, the comeback is stronger than the setback. So there is a lot to still look forward to. And I think the thing is, we know from talking to our loyalty guests and our trade partners, there is so much pent up demand out there. Okay. So it's important that we are all confident that there is still a great future. We have had a significant setback, but we will overcome this as an industry when we come back.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Well, Giles, let's pick up on that point about demand. And I know when the framework for the resumption of cruise was released, I know the guys, David Dingle, etc., was saying, look, this is now a really good reason to get out there and tell those customers who are wanting to come that it is going to be the safest form of travel. But that is still the most important thing for people, isn't it, Giles? That knowing that they're safe. They want to go, but they want to know that they're going to be safe.
I think all the research, and I've seen lots of different research from various sources, shows very clearly that people are desperate to travel again. They're desperate to cruise again, but they want to know it's safe. And I think we have a lot to do to communicate how safe cruising is. It actually always has been the safest form of travel, the safest type of holiday, and it continues to be so. And I think we need to overcome a few misconceptions, a few misunderstandings about where cruise might sit in this sort of COVID world and into a post-COVID world. But the work that the cruise lines have done, both on the oceans and on the rivers, to make sure it is so extraordinarily safe for people to travel, is way over and above what anybody else in the travel industry is doing, whether it be hotels, whether it be airlines, whether it be other types of transport. So I think we have to communicate that message really clearly to travel agents and customers, show them what we're doing, show them the level of detail and the protocols that we have, and demonstrate how safe a travel mode as well as such an enjoyable holiday type. And the demand is definitely there. I know from my own business, the pent-up demand, the customers who haven't taken refunds, they don't want to take refunds, they want to leave their money with us so they can book again as soon as they feel ready to do so. And I understand that's the same across all cruise lines, that we're not giving out money hand over fist because customers aren't asking for it. They're saying, we want to travel with you again as soon as we know we can do so. So to me, the future for all of us, agents and operators, is really, really exciting.
Okay, great. That is so good to hear. Let's bring you in, Bernie. Giles talked there about the importance of communicating both to trade partners and to customers then. So what have you been doing, both at Oceania, but as an industry, because I know you work very closely together. What has been the messages then out to the trade and to your customers?
I think the biggest thing, very much in the early days, was about reassurance, because there was a lot of bad news, and it was cataclysmic, the amount of information that was coming through. So we sought to reassure our guests, our travel partners, and just to let them know that we were getting ready and we were preparing for the future. So there's been a continuous engagement from pretty much the whole of the cruise industry, regardless of sector, with our customer base. And I think that we're blessed by having such loyal customers, and the whole family, the cruise family as a community, has actually started to rally now collectively against the vilification that the cruise industry has had over the past 10 months. And I think that the demand, and to both Joe's and Giles's points, the demand that we're seeing and the appreciation that we're seeing from our travel partners and from our guests is going to come to the fore. And I think cruise is going to be the strongest bounce back of all the sectors in the industry.
Okay, good. Joe, I wanted to pick up on something I saw your president, Lisa Lutoff-Perlo, tweeting this morning. She was saying, when, a bit like what you were saying, the comeback would be bigger than or stronger than the setback, but she was saying when you do come back, it won't be the same. And I don't know if you can reveal too much, but is this, related to how customer demand will change, or what is it that she means by that in terms of, you're going to come back, you've been using this time to really plan and do things a bit differently?
Yeah, I can't reveal completely for obvious reasons, but suffice
Go on.
Suffice to say that I think whilst it's really important, we've had an army of people, we have an army of people working on the protocols. It's also, we've really taken the time as a commercial team, a sales and marketing team globally, to look at how we're going to evolve our brand positioning. And that we are different when we come back, and really look at how, and it is evolution, it's not revolution, but how do we evolve it? How do we communicate it? We have spent a lot of time on getting customer feedback, looking at from a new generation point of view. We do believe that the Gen Xers are a squeeze generation in between me, the baby boomers, and most of you, the millennials, and we see that there's a great opportunity there. We believe that our brands and our proposition, our brand purpose, really has got a great affinity in all the research that we've done. So, and we've been working with, which Lisa has mentioned, with a company called Luxury Branding, headed up by a gentleman called Piers Schmidt, who has worked on a lot of luxury brands positionings. And he's really challenged us. In fact, that whole organization has, to look at what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how, when we do come back, we can do things differently. I think all of the research shows if people expect that they're going to go back to the old world has gone. We will be coming into a new world, and longer term, a better world as well. And we need to take some risks and use this opportunity to see how we can do things differently. That's what we've been working on, and I will reveal more in due course.
Okay, all right, but the principles are really important, actually, and I'm sure all travel agents should be looking at their own businesses and doing the same, having a good look.
I do agree. Yeah.
Go on, Joe. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, I think we've all been at various talks where Dr. Paul Redmond's spoken on the generational side, and at ABT he spoke about the sigmoid curve, which is really looking at making sure that when you have such a situation as we're in today, that if you just plan on, and the other thing is, as an industry, we tend to look at historical data too much. As an industry overall, is very historical led. This is what happens, this is what happens, this is what happens. Well, you can pretty much, in our case, rip that up, because what's happened isn't necessarily going to be what is going to happen. And I think it's really important, certainly from our point of view, we are, for the first time ever, looking far less back into the rear view mirror and far more into what we believe the future will be. Okay, really interesting. And Giles, I know you have some views on how you think customers' demands, or what becomes really important to them, will change in the new world.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we did some work about 2 years ago on our brand, on Avalon, and we sort of distilled it down to the essence of the Avalon brand is about joy. And actually, one of the really interesting things that we believe, when everything comes back, and it will come back, is that people want, they've had a pretty tough time of it. All of us had a pretty tough time of it, over whether it's changes tomorrow and it'll be about 7 or 8 months, or whether it changes another 3 months, 4 months, and it could be a year. And people want joy in their life, and they want depth of experience. And people have realized, they've reconnected. A lot of people during lockdown and quarantine time and everything else have reconnected with things that are really important to them. And they probably want to extend that into their holidays and have more joy, have more deep experiences, do things more rather than see things. So we think that, that what we have to offer, what River Cruise has to offer, and what cruise more generally has to offer, is about depth of experience. It's about getting really close, upfront, central to what's happening, the places that people go to. And whether it be the onboard experience and giving people that really amazing onboard experience, whether it be entertainment or port lectures, whatever it might be, or taking people ashore and taking them into the heart of places to really see how locals live, but do it in a fun, upbeat, invigorated way. And I think that cruise is going to really win when this comes back, because the depth of experience, the closeness to the places you go, you can't match that on any other holiday type.
Okay. Is that something I mean, I guess you've done research as well, just like Joe and Giles have, Bernie. What about the sort of the luxury cruiser that you're looking at? What would be important to them?
Again, safety is a very key element to that. Comfort and the fact that, okay, so the smaller ships and the luxury end has more space per guest anyway, but all of us will be reducing inventory so that we can actually have this distancing on board the ships. And we're finding that the people themselves are after that personal experience. So the things like the local tours, where you actually go off the beaten track, where you have fewer people going off in those tours, are the sort of thing that's starting to really appeal to these high-end guests. And I think apart from anything else, they want to enjoy an experience that is, even if it's 3/4 of what it used to be, it still has that personal feeling to it. In fact, I watched a video earlier on today from one of our German media colleagues, and it was interesting to see on one of the largest ships how you could still have a personal and enjoyable experience in this new world. And when I was looking around, that there were people walking around in masks, but when they were sat down and they were socializing in the way that we do currently in the UK, when we're sat at restaurants and what have you, it looked like a great experience. And I personally can't wait to get back, even in the new times, to see what it's like.
Okay.
One of the other things linked to all this is, during this whole COVID period, we've almost got this sort of sensory deprivation. We're not getting the experiences. We're not getting the rich experiences we used to. And so people, I'm going out to dinner tomorrow night for the first time 4 months. And my excitement levels about just going out for a meal are sort of up here. And I think once people are coming back to holidays, that they have, they've foregone for over a year, the excitement levels, the anticipation, the expectation is going to be right up there. And we know that cruise can deliver to that. And I just think we're going to have the most excited holidaymakers you could ever imagine when all of this comes back.
Can you imagine the footage?
Yeah, I know. So with that in mind, Joe, obviously normally in a normal year, Wave is really important for you guys and for travel agents selling cruise. You normally do loads of incentives and initiatives, and it's really exciting period where you get lots of sales in. What can we expect for Wave this year? Will there be a Wave?
We certainly hope so. I think we've got to remember that we haven't really had a mini wave, right? Because September is usually very much as we know, another mini wave time. So I think without a doubt, from a wave point, there will be a wave. Again, I think it will be different. I think it's mixing the messaging that we're giving on the protocols together with the holiday enjoyment and how we're making that even more special, where the destinations, the itineraries, all of those I think are key, that we get that clearly across. I think the other thing is technology. Again, in the research that we're doing is the importance of technology. And we notice that ourselves now when we go to restaurants, right, with the QR codes, etc. And I think we're finding that the investment that we're doing in the app and everything that we were doing anyway, ironically, in this world, just makes it far more appealing. First of all, it's getting rid of all the paperwork on board, which is significant. The second thing is that you can plan and pre-book excursions and meals, etc., in the restaurants far more easily. The muster, as you know, we're doing muster 2.0, so you don't actually have to congregate there from a muster point of view. I think more and more what we're finding in all the research we're doing is that technology is really, really critical. It opens your door. It's great for your TV. We know the remote control is not a great place overall from a sanitation point of view. So the more that we can make everything technically through the app and which is through the mobile phone, we're seeing some really good traction from that point of view, and we've really upped during this time looking at that investment as well. So coming back, I think there'll be a wave. I do think it'll be different, but I think we're hoping. Who knows, right? We can't completely say, because look at the world that we're living in. This thing is around us. We're not in control of it. It's in control of us at the moment. But all the indicators are there on the tests that are happening from vaccinations point of view, therapeutics, that I think we would all be very disappointed if there is no wave at all. And I think we all feel confident there is some light at the end of the tunnel now.
Okay, and I know we're short of time, but Giles, just if you were giving advice to travel agents then to be prepared for wave, you know, as Jo says, she hopes it's going to come, and it will be, you know, really important to get behind that. So what would you say to travel agents who might be listening to this and thinking that they need to get ready for that period?
I think I'd be saying, understand your database, understand what people have done before, the propensity for purchasing, where they might go, what sort of money they might spend. I would probably, if I was a travel agent, I would do maybe a bit like cruise lines are probably planning to do, or certainly I know we are, is have a sort of two-track marketing approach, and one track will be on a very low-cost marketing approach, which is hitting your database, doing it through low-cost methods. And as you see some return, then start bringing your second track, which may be some more above-the-line spend, some more online spend, once you start seeing that demand there. So it's do something, but don't go mad and blow all your money on the 1st of January, because I think we've got to see that the demand is there, that there is a wave, and what level that wave's at. I'm quite confident about wave. I think what we might see is stronger bookings for the second half of the year than the first half of the year, until we get the good news that we all need around vaccines, around the FCDO changing their mind about, you know, remove cruise from the do not travel. You know, once we get some bits of good news, I think we'll see bookings come forward. But if I were a travel agent, I'd be probably focusing my activity on the people I know, on low cost marketing, and possibly second half of 2021, being ready to jump in and do some stuff on the first half of 21 and on some more expensive marketing once you see the demand is there.
Okay, so you're nodding. Bernie, do you agree with that?
Absolutely, and very much the travel partners that we're working with, they know who these guests are that are ready and waiting to book. They have their lists, and I'm sure that they'll be ready to call out to them when that time comes. And as Giles said, it could be at the start of the year, it could be as we get a couple of months in. But I'm confident with the engagement that I'm seeing from our partners with their guests. And again, it's not about blowing the budget straight away. It's about taking the low-hanging fruit. It's about looking at the people that you're talking with regularly, sort them out first, look after them first, and then you can start spreading your net wider.
Okay. And Jo, just carry on.
Sorry, yeah. I think the other key thing is social content as well. To again, I think we've all got lots of scenarios, different scenarios based on what may or may not happen. To Giles's point, I thought it was a really good way of putting it. But I do think we're all finding that social content, engaging with our travel partners, engaging with the guests, it's cost effective as well. And I think making sure that we as an industry are providing the agents with easy sound bites, easy bits of content is something that we're certainly working on across the board, and then the brands are as well. But keeping engaged with our trade partners, and then with our trade partners with the consumers, has been an important thing to do during this time, and even more so I think as we go into January. And probably clarity as well, not being overly complicated, but clarity of message and clarity of timing, I think, is critical as well for the trade and for the consumers.
Yes, interesting what you said. Go on, Giles. Yeah.
Sorry, Lucy. To add to all of that, we've all got different types of peace of mind policies around cancellation, moving a booking, changing a booking. And I think if travel agents understand those for the cruise lines that they sell, they're then able to communicate to customers, look, if for any reason COVID continues, the situation doesn't improve, your money can be moved, your holiday can be moved, you're not going to lose your money. I think it's about understanding that, so that when someone says, I want to buy a Avalon holiday or an Oceania one or a Celebrity one or any other cruise line, you can say, that's great. And you know, they've got this policy that means if you book, this is what happens if you can't travel for any reason related to COVID. And I think that about reassurance with customers, they need to be reassured that their money's safe. And if as a travel agent you understand it, you can communicate that, and it shouldn't be a barrier to sale at all.
Yeah, so that they're going to be safe and their money's safe, two really key points. Joe, I just to finish, right at the start, you made a really interesting point that you said when the world might actually be a better place for this, and that crews will be well placed. So can you just go into that? Because, you know, I think lots of people are thinking, oh, we've just got to get through this now and then it will all go back to normal. And I think what you're saying is it's not going to go back to normal, but that actually might be a good thing.
Yeah, I think there are lots of things that have made people reflect during this time and consider. I think one of the thing is the people that you want to spend time with. People are missing one another, right? And I think that's going to be really important. And there's no other holiday other than an ocean or a river cruise that gives that sort of multi-generational opportunity, other than skiing potentially. Everybody does their own thing during the day, or they're together, and then in the evening they share those incredible stories. I think that's more important than ever. Again, the research that we're doing, companies that have a purpose, that stand for something, is really important. The environment is really important. The experience side of it, as opposed to just the being there, done that, tick it off, is really important. And I think if you look at what a cruise, be it river or ocean, offers families in that way, friends in that way, I know it's got a great future. And I think that connection piece, certainly for a long time, I can never say forever, but I think that connection point and what's really important to you in spending time with people that you want to be with and doing things that actually potentially where you leave a place better than when you got there is really important to a lot of people who enjoy cruise, be it river or ocean. And that's what key reason why I think it would be a better place.
Okay, well, what a nice way to end it, actually. That's a great sentiment, and really great to hear such positivity from all of you. And I'm sure the travel agents watching this will take that on board and hopefully get that wave period and sell lots of cruise holidays. So thank you very much to Giles from Avalon, to Bernie from Oceania, and to Joe from Celebrity. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you.